know, Lois. I'm very sorry. I have another pair in my office.
Well, I better get them for you. I'll meet you.
George Reeves was once America's Superman, beloved by millions of kids who saw him as their hero. But when he passed away in 1959, his death was met with an eerie silence. A man who had brought so much joy and hope to so many, especially children, was suddenly gone, and yet his funeral was a stark contrast to what one would expect for someone so famous. The world didn't show up to say goodbye. No big crowds, no flashing cameras, just a handful of people. What could have caused such a quiet farewell for a man who had captured the hearts of many? Could it have been bad timing, or were there darker reasons behind this unceremonious send-off? How could the world, who loved Superman, turn its back when he was in his greatest time of need? How did the Superman who once stood as a symbol of hope find himself so alone in his final moments? How did you feel when you first heard the news about George Reeves' mysterious death? Share your thoughts in the comments. George Reeves' journey to fame began with great promise. Born in 1914, he started off his career in Hollywood with a few small roles, but it wasn't until 1951 that he truly became a household name. He was cast as Superman in the TV series Adventures of Superman, and it didn't take long for George to embody the hero that millions of fans admired. For many, he wasn't just playing Superman. He was Superman, the strong, brave, and charming figure that kids looked up to. But behind the cape and the heroics, George faced challenges that the public didn't see. His early career had been a mix of ups and downs, with a few small roles and a big part in Gone with the Wind. But after his big break, George found himself limited by the roles offered to him. Despite his success, Hollywood didn't seem to see much more than Superman in him. While fans adored him as their superhero, the industry didn't seem to offer him the career he truly wanted. Still, George remained optimistic. He hoped that fame as Superman would eventually lead to more opportunities, a way to prove he could be more than just the Man of Steel. But the path ahead wasn't as clear as it seemed, and what looked like a dream come true started to take a toll on him emotionally. As George Reeves continued his role as Superman, the pressure began to mount. The show's success was undeniable, but it also left him trapped in a role that he couldn't escape. He was Superman, and that was all people saw him as. The industry, fans, and even casting directors couldn't look past the cape to see the talented actor underneath. His desire to break free from Superman's shadow became stronger with each passing year, but opportunities in Hollywood were limited. He couldn't shake the feeling of being typecast, and his dreams of playing more diverse roles seemed farther away. The financial side of things wasn't much better. Despite being the face of such a beloved show, George's pay wasn't nearly as high as it should have been for the workload he was putting in. The show's filming schedule was brief, leaving him with little financial security. George's ambitions were bigger than Superman, but without the financial backing or support from the industry, he was left with few options. He even resorted to side jobs, doing whatever he could to make ends meet. As the years went by, George's frustration grew. He longed for more freedom in his work, hoping to prove that he was capable of more than just being the superhero. He started planning his own projects, but when the money didn't come through, those dreams faded. The constant struggle between wanting more and being stuck in the same role began to wear on him emotionally. The Superman image that had once been his ticket to fame was now his greatest burden. In 1959, just when it seemed like George Reeves was on the verge of a new chapter in his life, tragedy struck. His sudden death shocked everyone. George was found dead in his home, a gunshot wound to the head, and the circumstances surrounding it raised many questions. The official report ruled it as a suicide, but even at the time, there were doubts. Some believed George had taken his own life, but others thought there was foul play involved. The lack of clear answers only deepened the mystery, leaving fans and friends alike wondering what really happened. The news of George's death hit hard. For a man who had been a beloved TV icon, it seemed almost impossible that his life would end so suddenly and so tragically. Hollywood, which had once celebrated his talent, now seemed to retreat in silence. Instead of mourning the loss of one of their own, many in the industry distanced themselves, and the public funeral was eerily quiet. There were no big stars, no crowds, no media coverage. The kind of tribute one might expect for Superman was absent, leaving a sense of discomfort and mystery hanging in the air. The unanswered questions surrounding George's death left a void that no one seemed to want to fill. His funeral was small and discreet, with only a few close friends and colleagues in attendance. The absence of the people who had once adored him as Superman was a tragic and painful reminder of how quickly fame can fade when the story behind it becomes too complicated. What makes George Reeves' death even more tragic is how Hollywood responded, or rather, didn't respond to it. Despite being Superman for a generation of fans, George's funeral was virtually ignored by the very industry that had once celebrated him. Those who might have paid tribute to him, the Hollywood elites, stayed away. Some say it was fear, others say it was shame. After all, George's death had become a mystery, with rumors of foul play swirling in the air. No one wanted to risk their own reputation by being connected to such a complicated situation. Hollywood's silence spoke volumes. It seemed that when the story became too dark or too messy, the industry preferred to distance itself from George. His funeral, which should have been a celebration of his life and career, became a quiet affair with barely any media coverage. The people who had once adored him and celebrated him as Superman turned their backs in his time of need, and that silence has echoed through the years. In many ways, George Reeves' life and death became a metaphor for how quickly fame can disappear. He had been adored as Superman, but when his story became too complicated, he was left alone. And instead of the grand farewell he deserved, he was left with nothing but whispers, questions, and an empty space where the love and respect he once had should have been. George Reeves' life and death left an indelible mark on Hollywood and the world, yet it's hard to shake the feeling that he never truly received the recognition he deserved. Despite the fame and adoration he brought as Superman, his final days were filled with struggle, doubt, and loneliness. His death remains shrouded in mystery, and the way Hollywood turned its back on him in his time of need is a haunting reminder of how fleeting fame can be. But beyond the headlines and the unanswered questions, George Reeves was more than just Superman. He was a kind man, a friend to many, and someone who understood the weight of his role as a hero for millions of kids. His efforts to prove himself as more than just Superman, his passion for directing, and his willingness to help others all painted a picture of a man who wanted to be seen for who he truly was, not just for the character he played on screen. His legacy, though tainted by tragedy, still carries a sense of love and admiration from those who knew him best.